Indiana Fever entered their matchup against the Connecticut Sun, knowing this was more than just another game. It was a defining moment in a season filled with frustration. Despite being in the playoff race, the Fever had slipped after back-to-back losses against lower-ranked teams. Their margin for error was gone. As the first half unfolded, it looked like this game would only add another painful chapter to their season.
So it was over. The season was done.
The Fever offense stalled while Connecticut built their lead higher and higher. The scoreboard showed a harsh truth. Indiana looked finished. The fans watching at home felt the same. The players on the bench carried the weight of every missed shot and every turnover. With 9 games left, the season already felt like it was slipping away in real time. Mitchell missed another shot, and the Sun scored on the break. But basketball has a way of changing despair into drama. On this day, Kelsey Mitchell and the Fever delivered a comeback that will be remembered. Looking back in a month, this game might stand as the most important half of the Fever season. And for Caitlin Clark, it could mark a true turning point.
This is what the greatest thing about sports is. You play to win the game. Hello? You play to win the game. You don't play to just play it. That's the great thing about sports. You play to win. And I don't care if you don't have any wins. You go play to win.
The words of Herm Edwards have lived on for decades. You play to win the game. The message is simple but powerful. No excuses. No matter the score or the injuries, you keep playing to win. The Fever entered this game with every reason to finally surrender. Another injury struck when Sophie Cunningham went down in obvious pain. She remained on the floor before being helped off by trainers. She could not put full weight on her leg. The team was already without Caitlin Clark, Sydney Carlson, and Ari McDonald. Now Sophie Cunningham, one of their leaders and most reliable shooters, was sidelined. The timing was cruel, and frustration boiled over. It no longer felt like bad luck. It felt like a season cursed with one setback after another.
We got Sophie's sister Lindsay and her mom Paula. At WNBA, maybe you should focus less on fining players for commenting on your poor officiating and more about hiring officials that are able to call a consistent game, protect your athletes. Pathetic. Praying for you, Sophie Cunningham. And Sophie's mother, Paula. Hartley is a disgruntled player having trouble everywhere she goes. She's playing mean and plays out of control.
Her family spoke out in anger against the league. They criticized the poor officiating and the lack of protection for players who continued to suffer injuries. The Fever had already lost Clark, Carlson, and McDonald. Now Sophie Cunningham was gone as well. In a must-win game against the worst team in the league, Indiana quickly fell behind by 21 points. The offense looked lifeless. The defense was rattled. The bench showed no energy. Through the screen, fans could feel it. The Fever were ready to pack it in.
One of your starters goes down, one of your leaders goes down. And after that, it did feel like the morale of the team was down for the first half, and they went into halftime being down 20 points. And I thought, I was on live, you guys heard it from me, I was like, okay, this game's done. Like, they just can't get out of it. The morale of the team is done. Seeing Sophie go down, like, maybe this team just doesn't have any fight left in them. And I was actually ready to give them a pass as well. I was like, you know what? It's been a hard season. And at some point, you might just have to throw in the towel and be like, you know what? We will get after it next season. It is what it is.
It felt like the season was already over. 9 games remained, but hope had disappeared. Then everything began to change. Kelsey Mitchell started with a free throw, then a floater, then a three-pointer. Slowly the energy shifted. The same shots that missed in the first half now found the net. At the 5-minute mark of the third quarter, the 21-point deficit was cut to 14. By the end of the quarter, it was down to 11. For the first time all night, the crowd came alive. Aaliyah Boston scored with strong post play. The Sun still led, but the door was cracked open, and Mitchell was ready to blow it wide.
Essentially, I thought, well, I wasted my day watching this game and going live for it. Then cue the end of the third quarter. the momentum shifted and the Fever started chipping away at this enormous lead that the Connecticut Sun had on them. For the majority of the game, I would say that the lead was around 15, 16 points, and they got it down to 8 points, and Kelsey Mitchell started heating up.
With the season on the line, Kelsey Mitchell turned unstoppable. She drilled a three, then attacked the rim for points at the line. Lexi Hull joined in by hitting a corner three that ended her long shooting slump at the perfect moment. The Fever bench stood to its feet as the crowd roared. Odyssey Sims played with fearless aggression, driving the lane and earning 9 free throws. Brianna Turner entered the game and gave pure defensive effort. She did not score, but finished with a +10 rating that spoke volumes about her impact. By the final minute of regulation, Mitchell had dragged Indiana back from the dead. The scoreboard read 84-84. The game was tied. Overtime belonged to the Fever. Mitchell scored a layup, then hit a three, and then another three. She was volcanic. The Sun suddenly looked rattled. Their shots rimmed out, and their passes grew hesitant. Indiana smelled blood. Then came the dagger. Brianna Turner drove to the rim and kicked the ball to the corner. Lexi Hull rose calmly and buried the three. Indiana led for good. The final score was 99-93. The largest comeback in franchise history was complete.
As a matter of fact, this was the largest comeback in Indiana Fever franchise history. And it was funny because there were so many people cheering in Connecticut for the Indiana Fever when all this was happening. There was actually just so many Fever fans in Connecticut. As a matter of fact, when Marina Mabrey went on the court in the beginning of the game, they booed her. Imagine getting booed in your own arena.
Yes, the victory came against the worst team in the league, but the way Indiana achieved it made it unforgettable. They overcame another devastating injury and erased a 21-point deficit. The Fever fans who traveled were louder than the Sun's home crowd. This was more than a win. It was survival. It was belief. It was hard. Mitchell finished with 38 points, including 34 in the second half. It was a masterpiece. Lexi Hull delivered 8.7 rebounds and the clutch threes that ended her slump. Odyssey Sims attacked relentlessly and refused to let the season die. Brianna Turner gave a defensive performance that changed the game. Aaliyah Boston anchored the paint with 14 points and 13 rebounds. This was a true team effort that reminded everyone of what Indiana could be.
I'm so proud of you guys. I know that sometimes it sounds like just a word when we talk about being resilient, but it's not, man. It's how we live. Yep. It's how y'all live, and it's a tribute to you. It's a tribute to your connectedness, your togetherness, your toughness, your mindset, your never give up gritty attitudes. Like, that's what it takes. That's what it takes. And we will never be counted out. Because that is worth gold. That is worth gold. Kels, goddamn baby. Put us on your back.
Inside the locker room, the emotion overflowed. The players showed relief, pride, and belief. This game mattered more than any other this season. A loss would have been crushing. It would have been 3 straight defeats, including one to the worst team in the league. With a brutal schedule left and multiple games against Minnesota, the season would have been nearly finished. Instead, this comeback kept hope alive.
To see Sophie Cunningham go down with injury amid all the other injuries that the Fever have suffered, it really felt like it was over. I mean, before the game, Stephanie White said she hopes Caitlin Clark is back at some point in the regular season. Then you see Sophie come down and you see them getting blown out by the Sun, and you kind of think, what's the point?
The Fever would never rush Caitlin Clark back to the court if they were out of playoff contention. No franchise risks its star in meaningless games. Before this matchup, Coach Stephanie White was asked about Clark, and her answer was cautious. She gave fans no reason to feel close to a return. V11. Clark still is not practicing fully with the team. She will not be rushed into action. But now, thanks to this, when her return in the postseason remains possible. If she can resume full practices, soon she could rejoin the Fever when it matters most.
Now that I'm watching it, instead of reading what she had to say, I'm still on my theory that I don't believe Caitlin Clark come back. For her to say she's hopeful that she's going to come back, that's the game plan. She didn't seem or look very confident in stating that Caitlin was going to come back. This is a very interesting conversation she's having with reporters today.
This team has already proven it can compete with the best. They have beaten the Lynx, the Liberty, the Mercury, and the Dream. With a healthy Caitlin Clark, they reach another level. She has always thrived in big games and owned the biggest moments. This comeback kept that dream alive. The Fever, down 21 battered and injured, refused to quit. They fought. They believed. They won. Now everything feels possible again.
And maybe you guys don't think that today, quote unquote, 1,000,000% for sure saved the Fever season. I think it did. I think it was huge for the season. I think the Indiana Fever, unless the Sparks come back in this game, are probably going to make the playoffs. And is there an argument to be made that it's actually better for the Fever to have lost this game and to not make the playoffs? Sure. But you know what? As a sports fan, fuck losing. Fuck tanking. I want to see the Indiana Fever play in the playoffs because I think Caitlin Clark's going to be healthy for the playoffs. I think that spell, those last 3 games, where I don't think anyone's going to play in that last Lynx game unless it's needed. I think that Mystics and Sky game back to back, I think she's going to become, even if she's a little bit iffy, no matter what, if they're going to make the playoffs, I think she's coming back for those 2 games. And then with Caitlin Clark there, even a 75% Caitlin Clark. People are saying, oh, Caitlin Clark, she's going to get surgery in the offseason. People are like, oh, she needs surgery in the offseason. If she needs surgery in the offseason, go and play. Go and play in the playoffs. Because with Kelsey Mitchell, the way she can score, you have a puncher's chance. You always have a puncher's chance